So the pain that you never validate within yourself is the pain that you will continue to pass down. If you felt like you couldn't have boundaries, you'll feel like other people don't deserve to have boundaries. So make sure you look out for that. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so thankful y'all are here. I pray to find home here, and if so, welcome. In this video, I'm going to talk to you all about 5 or 6 different psychological agreements that fuel toxic relationships, that fuel narcissistic or just dysfunctional relationships in general. These are spiritual and emotional agreements that you make with people who come into your life. And because they're so embedded in the subconscious, because you may have grown up on these unspoken agreements, you don't even notice you're involved with them. You don't even notice when you give your power away. So I just want to kind of put words to these different unconscious agreements that we make when we're in toxic relationships or when we're meeting new people and we slowly start to give our power away to them. So the first psychological agreement is that I can treat you however because I love you, because I care for you, because you're my daughter, because you're my son, because you're my cousin, my sister, my brother, because you are whatever role in my life. I can treat you however I want to, and you should put up with it. You should be okay with it. I'm in your life because I know what's best for you. And the truth is, even our parents, even our grandparents won't always truly know what's best for us. We're all on our own path. We're all seeking answers for our own chaos in life, you know? So nobody can know you or understand your life better than you know yourself. But in these toxic relationships, because there has to be a sense of control, you've fed into the belief that other people know you better than you know you. You fed into the belief that if I don't listen to this person and I fail, then that will prove that they know better than me. That will prove that I need to listen to them, that I have to play small and do what they want me to do because the world isn't safe. This is really dangerous because then we get into relationships where the person may say the right things, but under the surface, they're emotionally abusing us, psychologically abusing us, making us feel like, again, they have all the answers and we don't, so we have to listen to them. We have to hand over our power and identity and complete sense of self over to them. So the healthy version of this mindset would be, my role in your life never exceeds your need for authentic expression. If I have to draw a boundary to protect myself, I will, but you are free to be and express your needs as necessary. To do this, I have to be confident in myself and grounded in my own needs and boundaries so that I don't take your needs, boundaries, and expression of self personally. And so with a lot of these unconscious agreements, they're unconscious because the person who's trying to, the person who's trying to exert the control has that belief about themselves. So for example, they may still be holding on to this belief that their parents really love them, even if they treated them however. So they feel like they should get that same grace. They feel like their children should see them the same way. Well, I didn't speak up for myself. I didn't argue against my parents. So when I have children, I don't expect them to argue against me. I don't expect them to have their own sense of self. So the pain that you never validate within yourself is the pain that you will continue to pass down. If you felt like you couldn't have boundaries, you'll feel like other people don't deserve to have boundaries. So make sure you look out for that. Number 2, your needs aren't as important as mine. Therefore, I expect you to reject yourself, and if not, you're disrespectful, you're offensive, you're selfish, and or you're rude. There's some type of label that comes along with you having an authentic sense of self. There's some sort of shame attached to you being your own person, being an individual. And again, this is all to exert control. This is all to get you to believe that your authentic expression is in some way unacceptable, so that you always look to this person to tell you if you're doing something right, if you're doing something wrong, if you need to give more, do more. It's a way to keep people in their control, a way to keep people guessing on their toes, so that they can always be a people pleaser and give into what do they need? How are they feeling? Am I being good enough? What did I say that was wrong? So all these psychological agreements keep you in a space of confusion, so that you can never fully ground in yourself, so that you can never fully be in your authenticity and really start to operate by your intuition. And so the healthy version of this mindset would be, our needs are both important. I will attentively receive what you need and what you say and express to me, and do my best to meet those needs for you. If I can't meet those needs, I will communicate that, so we can find an even ground that meets a majority of both of our needs. And when you love somebody genuinely, as long as you all can both be at least pleased by the outcome, maybe not completely 100% satisfied, but you both understand that you each want the best for each other. It's not about one person being right, the other being wrong. It's not about it being a competition of who can hold more power, who can make the other person feel more insecure or win. It's about, how can we get both of our needs met? How can we both leave this situation feeling at least like we're on the same team and we're both striving towards the same goal? So that's just my belief. But yeah, you having needs and boundaries doesn't offend me, because I acknowledge those things within myself. And again, we cannot acknowledge things in other people that we haven't first acknowledged in ourselves. So if we feel like we can't have boundaries, we can't say no, then we'll take that as disrespect from other people saying no to us. We'll take that as, oh, they think they're better. Oh, they think they have some sort of power that I don't have. Well, in a way they do, because you're not stepping into your power of boundaries. You're not stepping into your power of saying no when you feel like it. So when you notice that in other people, yeah, you're going to feel insecure. You're going to feel like, oh, they have this power that I don't. The third mindset of a toxic environment, a toxic relationship, is that when I'm unhappy, you have to be unhappy also. I only feel valid in my unhappiness if others are too. Seeing other people happy while I'm unhappy or in a negative state makes me feel insecure and less than. And with this one, this is the main reason why a lot of people can't just be unhappy and still treat people with respect, because when we're in a negative state, that doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to be unhappy, to be miserable or depressed. It doesn't feel good to be sad. But when you can't own that feeling and say, hey, I feel this way, no matter what y'all think, no matter what y'all want to say, it doesn't matter. You start to feel like they have no right to have their own opinion. They have no right to have their own emotion. So because I'm unhappy, y'all don't get to be happy, because we're not a separate being. Y'all aren't separate from me. Y'all should be under my control. Y'all should mirror back to me what I'm feeling, because I can't validate that and stand on that within myself. You'll try to bring other people down, or somebody else will try to bring you down because they're unhappy and they feel like you don't deserve to be happy in that moment because they're experiencing misery, unhappiness, anger, or whatever they're feeling. So on the flip side, the healthy version of this mindset would be, when I'm unhappy, I will take space and time to feel that, so that I can communicate what I need properly in a healthy way. I validate my own feelings regardless of how other people feel, and I have compassion for myself or my unhappiness, but I will not project it onto others. I will not force other people to carry the burden of my unhappiness, because it's too hard for me to take accountability, validate that within myself, and communicate my unhappiness in an efficient way. So the fourth mindset is that you're only good enough if I say so. If others have a negative opinion of you, I will have a negative opinion of you also, because I want validation and not connection. And this one can directly reflect a narcissistic relationship because they care more about how the relationship looks rather than the connection, y'all seeing eye to eye, y'all being on the same page. Their most intimate connections and relationships are all about competition. They're all about, am I going to win this argument or am I going to lose? So basically, how secure you feel in that relationship is not important to them. What's important to them is if y'all look like a happy couple, if y'all look like a happy family, if y'all look the part, not necessarily if it's an actual successful relationship, if you all are actually closely bonded and intimate with one another. If somebody outside of the family hints on something or adds their opinion, which may be negative, then they'll be more focused on changing the family around to look better. Then they'll be on defending their own family. Then they'll be on saying like, okay, you can think that about my family. You can think that about my relationship, but I know who my partner is. I know who my children are. I know who my parents are, or whatever. So a lot of times you'll find in a toxic, dysfunctional, or narcissistic relationship that they won't defend you. You know, they're always playing both sides of the team. They don't want to form that intimate bond with you because they also want the validation of people outside of the relationship, and they can never fully step into either side because they're constantly trying to get control on one end, validation on the other end. And so there's always this back and forth. So the healthy version of this toxic mindset is that you're good enough regardless of my opinion or anybody else's. Your greatness doesn't take away from mine, and supporting you brings me a sense of joy to be able to add on and help someone I love. Regardless of what others think, I trust that you know what's best for you and that you will show up authentically to our connection. That's what matters. I value our relationship over judgment. So the fifth mindset is that I depend on others to play small around me so that I don't have to be reminded that I don't feel good enough. I will do whatever I have to make sure you don't feel too good about yourself. So you can feel a little bit good about yourself, but if you feel too good to a point where they feel like they're being undermined, they feel insecure, their jealousy and envy is getting startled up, then you've basically crossed a boundary of theirs. And people who are unable to take accountability, they're unable to say, wait a minute, I'm playing small. Wait a minute, I feel insecure seeing this person step into their power, so I need to do work on myself. A lot of times they'll blame that person that's stepping into their power. They'll say they don't need to do all that. They're doing too much. They're whatever label they can come up with to try to shame them and belittle what they're doing, because deep within themselves, they don't feel good enough. They don't feel like they can go out and do the same thing that person is doing. So it's easier to try to bring them down a few notches than it is for them to take accountability and put in the work on their end. The healthy version of this mindset is, I support those who want to take risk, because I've had moments of my life where I've done the same. I want you to go as far as you can and become more than you've dreamed with my support. I know that my genuine care is appreciated and necessary. I can support you because I'm not in a triggered state of being abandoned by you. I know I won't be forgotten because my care is a safe space for you to evolve, so I don't have to belittle you. I don't have to undermine your growth in order to feel better about myself. And that's the thing too. In a lot of these mindsets, there's this fear of being abandoned. There's this fear of somebody doing better than them, of living a life they were too scared to, and then mirroring back to them the fact that they couldn't do that, mirroring back to them rejection and abandonment. So understand that none of these mindsets are because of the person outside of them. is typically something they're feeling deep within, insecurity, lack, need for control, and the person on the opposite end of that gets the negative treatment. They get people trying to control them and undermine them because it's easier to try to make somebody look bad than it is to take accountability for your own projections, for your own insecurities. And the last mindset is that my unhappiness is your fault. I walk around with this feeling, but now that you're in my life, now that you're making yourself available to me, I have somebody to blame it on. Accountability is way too risky. A majority of the world does this. A majority of people do this. I used to do this, where I'm unhappy in my life, so the people that come into my life, I'm going to find a reason one way or another how they're making me unhappy. And thank God I've grown out of this. I've seen my own faults. I've seen where I've went wrong. And it's also helped me to see how other people were projecting that onto me. It helps me to see when other people are in misery and now they want me to be in that same space. So there's a difference between being unhappy as an individual and being unhappy in a relationship. If you are unhappy as an individual and you come into a healthy relationship, you will try to find reasons why your partner is making you unhappy and not why you're unhappy and need to do something about it. But then the difference is, if you're a content individual, if you can own your feelings, but you get into a relationship and you find yourself unhappy, the unhappiness that comes from a relationship is to be communicated to each other. You communicate to your partner when they're doing something that's directly harming you, when you have needs that you would like for them to fulfill if they can, if it's healthy. But there's a certain element of communication that goes along with relationship unhappiness. But if you as an individual, if you're insecure, if you feel like you're unlovable, if you are so stuck on past stories when somebody left you, when somebody belittled you, when somebody abandoned you, and you're dealing with that internally, that's never the other person's fault. That's for you to sort through. That's for you to take responsibility for. But unfortunately, a lot of people are getting into relationships with a lot of heaviness and sadness from their past, from things that they haven't yet discovered and unraveled for themselves, and then trying to make their partner the reason. You're the reason I'm unhappy. You're the reason I can't leave. You're the reason I can't go on vacation. You're the reason, you name it. It's so many different things that people will blame everybody else around them for, when really it's something that they're not looking at internally. So the healthy version of this mindset is, my unhappiness is my responsibility. So is communicating what I need in our relationship in a healthy way. You can't make me feel worthy and lovable as an individual, so I won't give you that responsibility. I accept your acts of love and kindness wholeheartedly without punishing you for not meeting expectations that I should be meeting for myself. So again, if you're not doing the work on yourself, if you're not becoming aware of the voice that you have within yourself, then it becomes almost second nature to blame somebody else for why you're unhappy, which is why you have to do the work. You have to look at the stories that you tell yourself. You have to be aware of what you've went through in your past. How is it still affecting you moment to moment? What judgments do you put on other people? Like, you have to become conscious of what energy you're operating in, so that you can start to differentiate if this person holding a boundary is actually hurting me, or if they're doing what's authentic to them and it's triggering something in me that I haven't resolved. If you made it to the end, I am so thankful, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.